So I'm just going to jump right into it. I am Natasha Simona. For those who have never seen me before or heard me, you can find my podcast, The Natasha Simona Sequence, on Apple, Spotify, wherever you can find your podcast, Odyssey, and a bunch of other places, whatever. But welcome. Hi. Listen, Wendy Williams gave us what we wanted. We wanted to see her. Everybody wanted to see her because hearing her was not enough. So she hopped on camera yesterday, it was yesterday. She hopped on camera and she's speaking up about her finance situation with Wells Fargo. Before I get into that, I want to say this. When you are going through a tough time, whatever your tough time is, you might not want to be seen, right? And everybody's like, this is Wendy's karma. She spent her career talking about people and she needs to do this. She doesn't need to do anything. Sometimes people can dish the dirt, but they don't know how to navigate it when it's on them. Wendy, like, if you've really been following Wendy, she didn't really want to be in the spotlight the way she is. She was real comfortable, doing her radio, and she wanted to teach. But now we're here, and that's all water under the bridge. So we basically watched everything unfold. She hasn't been on her show all season long. Now, Sherry Shepherd is the show, I guess, favorite guest. And now Sherry has her own show coming out in the fall called the Sherry Shepherd Show, or Sherry. Whatever, I didn't write it down, but shout out to Sherry Shepherd for that. Wendy so she has her own Instagram page. It is at The Real Wendy Williams online. So she's like completely separated from the show, and she's got her own page. There's only 3 posts on there, so don't go on there thinking you're gonna find a whole lot of content. And the first video she put up was her walking on the beach in Florida, and her son was like, the interviewer for that, and she was talking, and y'all dragged her for no reason other than her saying, why she's in Florida. She said it's good for her. She's there around family, her dad, her mom, her brother, her sister. And you guys said, oh, that's not current because she talked about her mother in the current.
I'm here in Florida and I come here often. I've got real family. Mother, father, sister, brother, family. And it's very peaceful being here, Yeah.
She's still mourning her mom. She's still mourning the transition of her mom. So with her saying that her mom is there, yes, because she's buried there, or whatever they did, in prep, for her mom is there. So if she's saying that her mom is there, just, you guys are very insensitive, but whatever. And then the other photo she has is of her father for his birthday. I believe he turned 91. And then the third video is what she put up yesterday. So, before I get to that video again, she went on Good Morning America and she talked to TJ Holmes, and people dragged her about that. And they said, well, we want to see her. Why didn't she go on camera? Nobody, you're never satisfied. Nobody is ever satisfied. So this was last week she went on Good Morning America and she gave an interview to TJ Holmes. Very interesting choice. I really want to say that. I think her going on GMA and talking to TJ was an interesting choice and person, because she could have went anywhere. Do you know what I'm saying? She really could have went anywhere. She could have given that interview to anyone, but she chose TJ. And Wendy, let me tell you, she's all about strategy, and that was a good move. Anyway, she went on and TJ asked her first question out of his mouth. She's like, Wendy, are you of sound mind? I'm like, what? And she says, yes, are you? And so that's how the interview started. It was very fun and playful. And TJ asked her if she was ready to come back, and she said, I'll come back tomorrow. She said, I'm 57 years old and things happen, which they do as you get older. And she said that she has the body of a 25-year-old. Now, Wendy, I don't know about 25. But all in all, she said she feels great, and she's working on some things, and she said, give her 3 months. So I don't know what she's cooking up, but I'm definitely excited to see. And I was really grateful to hear her. And she does talk about, because TJ did ask about the Wells Fargo situation with her finances, and she was vocal about it. She said it's not right, and people aren't telling the truth, and she needs to have access to her money. Now, she went on her Instagram page, and you know Wendy isn't techie at all. And when you look at the video, you could tell she sat there and she was probably pissed. You know how she smokes her invisible cigarettes? Got my damn money tied up. Are you kidding? Who do you think you are? I'm just saying, I could just imagine Wendy doing that. But anyway, she's back in New York. She's sitting by the window, and she says, you know, this is not fair.
My thing is that I've been asking questions about my money. And when I began asking questions about my money, suddenly Lori Schiller has got no response regarding my money. I want my money. This is not fair. And Wells Fargo has no questions and answers with regarding my money. This is not fair. And Lori Schiller and Wells Fargo have this guardianship petition about keeping me away from my money. This is not right. And you know this is not fair.
She mentions a couple of people. And one person I do want to say I'm really disappointed to hear is being shady is her manager, Bernie.
And this guy named Bernie Young, I know for a fact that Bernie Young used my American Express card to hire an attorney to file a petition against me. That was done with my American Express card. Bernie Young, you're no good, and this is not fair.
Remember when everything like unfolded with Kevin, her ex-husband, and like she got a whole new team. Now Kevin had been her manager since radio days, and if you've been following Wendy, you know that he's the machine behind the brand. Now I'm not going to get into the conversation about their marriage and what happened publicly. I wasn't there, and I don't have an interview from neither one of them, so I won't even impose my own opinion on that. I just know that I can identify what it feels like to be publicly embarrassed and humiliated. Anyhow, but nonetheless, he was still a huge portion, you know, behind her brand, and he handled a lot of the affairs of what we see with the Wendy show. He was an executive producer on the show, FYI, if you didn't know that. His name was in the credits and everything. So the Hot Topics, if you didn't know, Hot Topics, he produced that segment of the show. And also there's something else, Shoe Cam. He came up with Shoe Cam, and he doesn't come from TV. So he went on, I know I'm all over the place. Just follow me, okay? Follow me here. He went on his live too. So she did a live. Well, he did a live on his page, his publishing page. He has Hunter Publishing. If you don't know who Kevin Hunter is, he's a shark. Like that man stays busy all the time. He has a publishing group, Hunter Publishing. He went live on there because he couldn't figure out the live on his page. The both of them cannot figure out technology. Well, anyway, the live video, it's about 69 minutes. He went on 2 days ago at this point. So he went on first, and Kevin is a man that does not talk. You've seen a million pictures of him, but you never heard him talk. He does not talk, and if he does unmute his mic and he speaks in any space, he's giving you 2 minutes. And that's it. He's giving you 2 minutes. But this time he gave about 69 minutes or something like that, 64 minutes, over an hour. He was talking, and he said he wanted to address some things.
For a lot of people that don't know me, you know, I normally stay in the back. I have been fortunate enough, coming from Brownsville, Brooklyn, to have gone on a journey been part of greatness, appreciative, humble. You know, you're looking at somebody with a 10th grade education and a GED. And what I've been able to learn and also gather and teach myself, I've been fortunate. There's a few things I want to kind of address. I'm not going to take up too much of everybody's time. For the people that are here, you know, you can share, but these are, you know, my words. When it comes to whatever narratives that might be spun out there regarding me, my entire family, I want to first and foremost say that, you know, I truly respect and appreciate all that I was able to experience with my ex-wife and what we were able to accomplish. What she accomplished clearly on her own, through her own merit, and what we were able to accomplish together. There has been, also with that, when it comes to my personal life, not my professional life, when it comes to my personal life of what the public has been able to see in real time, I take full accountability for my actions.
So Kevin goes on and he talks about the fact that, you know, he feels like he was wrongfully terminated from Debmar Mercury, which is the company that's how do you say that owns the Wendy show or something like that, or is over the Wendy show? Anyway, Debmar Mercury is the producing company. Now, if that's not how you say it, I'm sorry. And they're under Lionsgate, partnered with whatever the situation is. That's what it is. And he says that, you know, he wasn't even, he thought about it, but he wasn't even going to pursue the lawsuit.
To any event, what happened to me as an executive in a business that does not have a lot of diversity was not called for. And I struggled with whether I was going to pursue this, because after such a public divorce where everybody chose to do what they do in the movie, and which I feel was not a rightful depiction of the situation at all. You could have definitely spent more time on the real accomplishments and the defining moments that made her who she is.
He says, you know, I have a whole new life. I live a whole different lifestyle, and I just didn't want that drama around me. Like, you know, he said that their divorce between him and Wendy was like one of the fastest divorces in entertainment history. He said he just wanted to sign the paperwork and just get out of there. And that was it. And sometimes in those situations, you're signing away a lot. I don't know what was in the contracts, but this is what he said. I'm just giving you a recap, okay? So he goes on to say, you know, but now it's like you owe me a lot of money. I am a big machine behind the Wendy Williams show, behind the Wendy Williams brand. And you guys, at what job do you go to when you're dealing with stuff in your personal life? Do they say, hey, you know what, buddy, we're going to fire you because of the things that's going on in your personal life? Actually, that does happen. Now that I just said that, Kevin, but it doesn't mean it's okay. It doesn't mean it's okay. And there are lawsuits for that. So I guess that's the route he's going. He also addresses he still, I love the fact that he referred to her, Wendy. He said the queen. He said that queen right there. There was nothing out of his mouth that was slighted. And, you know, I'm sad to say, but he definitely has a bad rap in the eyes of a lot of people who are, you know, these overly supportive Wendy fans, which is fine, but calm down a little bit. You got to hear both sides. You know what I'm saying? Like, we really need to hear more of Kevin. And it would be great if we could get like a Kevin and Wendy, and then, you know, somewhere in there introduce Sharina into the fold, because time, I'm not going to say time heals all wounds, but you mature through things. And Kevin and Wendy have a son together, so it's to their benefit, and they have business, so it's to their benefit that they just, you know, squash everything, put all that stuff to the side, grow through the situation, and figure out, okay, well, the situation is not going anywhere because, you know, him and Sharina have a kid, so how do we make this work for the sake of the son that we have? Now he has a little sister, and you are a great business person. You know, you're great in business for me. He talks about how Sharina, you know, through the whole thing of you know, Wendy's health unfolding in front of our eyes, and then the health scare that they had with their son, with Wendy and Kevin's son, Kevin Jr., Sharina was there and had his back, and you know, they all introduced this vegan diet, and you know, Sharina has a vegan line. I think it's called Vegan Nose or something like that, and she has not clothing line. She has a food line called Vegan Nose, and her clothing line is called Vish, Vish. Well, at any rate, he salutes her and he thanks her, and then he also talks about current times with Wendy's health. He mentions that, you know, he says if it wasn't for Kevin Jr., you wouldn't have Wendy Williams today. And he said that Kevin, they weren't even allowing Kevin upstairs to go see his mother with some people. They were like stopping him. And he said, if you don't let me upstairs, I'm going to call the police. And that's when they let him go upstairs and check on her. Wendy went through 2 blood transfusions. Like, if it wasn't for Kevin, the ex-husband, stepping in to make sure, support their son, who's the only person really taking care of Wendy wouldn't be here. So there's a lot of drama that's been going on behind the scenes. Wendy alluded to that in her video. She talks more about the financial situation. She mentioned shady behavior from Bernie. She says that medical records were released without her permission. Medical records were released before she even saw what was on the paperwork, which I think is crazy. And here's what I have to say about that. When everything unfolded with her and Kevin, and it was overly dramatic and very, very public, I feel like Wendy might, you know, in her own personal rage and anger, and also having these people in her ear saying, you need to get rid of him, you need to do this, that, and the third. All of that combined was like, okay, Kevin, you got to go. I want nothing to do with you. You're an embarrassment, X, Y, and Z. And now she gets this whole new team that was given to her, right? And those people turned out to be shady. And that's what's happening now. So she fired Bernie. This other woman she talks about is a menace to her brand. And now she's in a space where she's trying to get her health back in order, or maybe she's got her health in an area that's manageable. The same treatment that they used on her son back when he was going through his health situation, when he was he experimented with some drugs, and they got him together through a holistic diet. Now it's her son who's taking care of her, and her ex-husband that's helping support everything. So that's what I gathered from his video, her video, reading in between the lines of things. You know, he definitely wants the world to hear his piece. He talks about the movie that came out last year on Lifetime, and he says they really could have done a better job in showing more details of just her work ethic and, you know, the accolades, and less about the mess. You know, they really highlighted a lot of her drug usage and the marriage and the cheating, and, you know, drama makes for good TV, but sometimes it's, you know, we want to see more of the molding and the kneading of the brand and how she got there. So I don't know, maybe they're gonna, you know, they have a production company as well. Who knows what they're cooking up, but I know they're cooking up something real good. And Wendy looked good to me. She looked like her normal, you know, when Wendy goes home and she has her different wig on, she was sitting there with pink nails and pink lipstick, and, you know, she had the view of Manhattan behind her. And I don't know. I don't know what else to make of it. I'm just glad to see that they're both speaking out. And from what I gather and how he was speaking of the situation and how he was speaking of her, he refers to her. He's like, that's my peoples. He says, that's my family. He refers to Sharina that way. So there might be just a really nice, cohesive way that they're all coping with each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, Wendy is not having any more children. She's got her one son that's grown, that's taking care of her. She's now trying to figure out her next move with her career. Kevin has a young daughter who's like 3 or 4 years old. He has his partner. He doesn't. There's no title that he gives her. He doesn't say girlfriend. He doesn't say fiance, wife, or anything like that. But he has Sharina by his side at home. They live down in Miami or somewhere in Florida, and Kevin is grown. So I think everybody is just finding this comfortable, cohesive way of being support. They're family, and he mentions that. He says, we're family. This is my family. So shout out to them. And I'll always keep you posted on this. Wendy, let me tell you something. If it wasn't for Wendy Williams, a lot of people who get on these spaces, whether it's Instagram or YouTube or wherever, and you get on and you do your gossip talk, just know that Wendy paved the way. Period. You don't have to like her. But if you sit and you have a favorite blogger that dishes the dirt and you listen to any type of gossip, especially salacious gossip, just know that the person that you're watching is walking behind and on the footsteps of Wendy Williams. She paved that way. And for everybody coming on to these spaces doing their thing, they might not have to deliver the news like Wendy Williams does. They might have their own twist and flair, which you all should, because you should have your own identity. It is all coming out of the threads of Wendy Williams. So shout out to her for paving the way for all of us. And I say us because I'm included in that mix. If it wasn't for Wendy, I would not know my voice today. I've been listening to Wendy since I was 5 or 6. I remember Wendy I'm from New York, okay? And I remember Wendy from when she was on Kiss FM, and she had like a minute to talk, and that was it. My mom used to listen to that, and I listened to her, and all I did, I came out the womb talking. And my family, I come from a family of doctors and all that stuff, and everybody did all, and they're like, oh, they had a plan for me. They thought I was going to go to school and be a doctor. I was like, no, I want to go on the radio. A whole nother conversation for another day. But nonetheless, I knew that if that woman that I hear, I would have my ears to the radio, turn it up, listening how she does things. And I watched her career do what it did to what we see today. And Wendy Williams was one of those people that I watched and I admired. And I said, how can I do that? Between Wendy and Roz Abrams, she's from New York, and Rolanda Watts, and there's a bunch of women in that fold, Oprah, Barbara Walters, and it was like, how can I be like them? How can I have my own identity like these different women? So, and because we're talking about Wendy, we're gonna keep it there. So my heart and love always will sit with Wendy. Now there's sometimes where I'm like, oh, she went a little too far. But we all do. But I give the credit where credit is due. Wendy paved the way for a lot of us sitting here doing this. So shout out to Wendy. Shout out to Kevin for being the machine and the force behind her. I'm not here to judge anything in their relationships. Now, when you sit and I have girl talk with my girls and, talk about things, that's one thing. But one thing I do know is I wasn't there to witness anything, and we never hear his side. So I'm really excited and hopeful to see him come out and really just talk more and own that portion of his life and just talk about the evolution of Kevin Hunter, because we really don't know much about him. So shout out to him for being the driving force behind a lot of what we see from Wendy and the Wendy Williams brand in itself. And that's all I've got. And shout out to their son. he grew up in this business with his mom and his dad, and he's had to face a lot. So shout out to him, and honorable shout out to Sharina for, she's part of the fold too. I don't care if you don't like her or not, and you don't feel like she has needs to be heard, but she does, because she's there and she supports Kevin. And I really want to believe in my heart that all of them together are finding a way to support each other. So shout out to Sharina as well. That's all I've got on that. That is all I've got. I will continue to keep you updated when things come in, and if you want, you can listen to my podcast, the Natasha Simona Sequence, and follow my YouTube page. Thank you.